BFTB, best fight the best. So while everybody is hating on Deontay Wilder, while they're talking about him in every form or fashion, disrespecting him in any way that they can when he's done nothing to nobody, but give us what we want to see, he is making history. Now let's just take a look and see what he's making history in. The top 10 most unbreakable records in boxing history.
10.
Wilfred Benitez, the youngest champion in boxing history, 17 years old when he became a champion.
9.
The longest KO streak, including a belt. Wilfredo Gomez, 32 knockouts. Deontay Wilder, 32 knockouts.
8.
The longest 2 KO streak. Carlos Zarate. His first one was 23. His second one was 28 KOs in a row.
7.
Bernard Hopkins, the oldest champion in boxing history, 50 years old.
6.
Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. He holds the most titles in different weight classes.
5.
The greatest, Muhammad Ali. The most undisputed title reigns, 3 of them. 3 reigns as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
4.
Sweetness, the greatest. The other greatest, the pound for pound greatest, Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the greatest undefeated record in boxing history. 91 streaks, a streak of 91 wins.
3.
Len Wickford. He has the most fights in boxing history. 339 wins, 86 losses, 42 draws, for a total of 467 fights.
2.
Archie Moore. The most KOs in boxing history, 131.
1.
If you don't consider Ray Robinson the pound for pound greatest of all time, then Hammer and Hank Armstrong, Henry Armstrong, is the pound for pound greatest of all time. He's the only fighter who was ever undisputed in 3 weight classes, featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight, and defended them all at the same time. Undisputed at the same time. And if it wasn't for a controversial draw, he would have been undisputed at middleweight. But Deontay Wilder is on this 10 greatest unbreakable records of all time. In the heavyweight division, where it takes one punch to end the night from either fighter, one of the most impressive streaks that you can have is to be undefeated as a heavyweight. The following list is the list of the top 10 undefeated heavyweight streaks. Riddick Big Daddy Bowe. He started his career 34-0. He captured the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF title by beating Evander Holyfield. He fought fighters the likes of Pinklin Thomas, Burt Cooper, Tyrell Biggs, Tony Tubbs, Bruce Seldon, Evander Holyfield, Michael Dokes. His streak was ended in a majority decision to Evander Holyfield. Sam Langford, the Boston Bone Crusher. During his 35-fight undefeated streak, he fought fighters the likes of young Peter Jackson, Morris Harris, Sandy Ferguson, William Iron Hague, the Dixie Kid, and he fought most of these guys multiple times. He fought Fireman Jim Flynn for the heavyweight title, and he beat him. He knocked him out. But his 35-fight streak, was ended by Fireman Jim Flynn. Michael Double M Lee Moore, the first left-handed heavyweight champion. He went 35-0 in his first 35 fights, beating Evander Holyfield to gain the lineal IBF and WBA heavyweight titles. Double M Michael Moore fought fighters such as Burt Cooper, the aforementioned Evander Holyfield, James Smith, Alex Stewart, and Terry Davis. He lost his fight to George Foreman, who ended his streak. Iron Mike Tyson, one of the most menacing heavyweights in heavyweight history. He went on a 37-win streak, capturing Undisputed in his wake, which at that time was the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF title, beating fighters such as the likes as Carl Williams, Frank Bruno, Michael Spinks, Tony Tubbs, Larry Holmes, Tyrell Biggs, Tony Tucker, Pinklin Thomas, James Smith, Trevor Berbick, Mitch Green, and James Tillis. Again, he was undisputed and the lineal champion. He lost in Tokyo to Buster Douglas, who ended his reign. Big George Foreman, a knockout artist, started his career 40-0. He captured Undisputed, having the WBC and WBA titles at that time. He beat fighters such as Ken Norton, Joe Frazier, Gregorio Peralta, Boone Kirkman, and George Cavallo. His streak was ended in the Rumble in the Jungle, one of the greatest fights in boxing history, with the greatest, Muhammad Ali. Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. The most feared heavyweight of this era. No fighter he's ever faced has not tasted canvas. They all have seen what the lights look like while laying on their back. Most of them had to wake up to get that view. He's destroyed Dominic Breazeale, knocked out Tyson Fury, knocked out the boogeyman Luis Ortiz, who he's fighting again, obliterated Bermane Stiverne, knocked out Chris Arreola, Johan Duhaupas, Eric Molina, Malik Scott, put Sergey Lahovich in a coma, and destroyed Audley Harrison at home. The current reigning WBC heavyweight champion of the world. 42 fights, 0 defeats, and still Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. John L. Sullivan, the originator of that shit. You know, the first lineal champion, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. He doesn't really have 43 professional fights because they added in some other shit, bare knuckles or whatever the case may be, because this was long as hell ago. But you know, going to give the man the respect that he deserves anyway. You know what I'm saying? Put him at number 4 because he has 40 fights without a loss. So he actually should be behind Deontay. But on the paper, they add all of his fights and they put him in there as 43 wins. So I mean 43 fights with no loss. So I'm gonna keep it going the same way. He's got a boatload of fighters on his resume, but all the fighters that he have on his resume don't nobody know anything about. A lot of debuts, a lot of 1-0s. So it's kind of difficult to say who the hell was what. So I can just say he lost to James J. Corbett. That's about it for that. Larry Holmes, the Easton Assassin. Larry Holmes, his record, he started his career 48-0. He captured the WBC and the IBF title. He beat fighters such as Carl Williams, Gary Cooney, Leon Spinks, Trevor Berbick, Muhammad Ali, Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, Randall Cobb, and Tim Witherspoon. His streak was ended at the hands of Michael Spinks. Rocco Francis Marciano, the Broxton Blockbuster, 49-0, beating fighters like Roland Lastarza 2 times, the great Joe Louis, Lou Savold, Jersey Joe Walcott twice, who he won the National Boxing Association title, which was the only belt back then. Ezzard Charles twice, and then the great Archie Moore, retiring on top and undefeated. Gene Tunney, the Fighting Marine. Now, Gene Tunney has the same resume, well, not the same resume, but the same record as Rocky Marciano. They both had a 49-0 streak. However, Gene Tunney fought more contenders. He fought more people, which is the reason why he's number one over Rocky Marciano. He fought Lou Houck twice. He fought Battling Levinsky. He fought Harry Greb 5 times. He fought Charlie Warner twice, Chuck Wiggins twice, George Carpenter, Jeff Smith, and Jack Dempsey twice. So that's why he's number one. Now, I know there was a break in his streak. His 49-0 streak, it was a break in there, but he still has those guys on his resume, which is above Rocky Marciano, and the reason why he's number one. Deontay Wilder is already in history. He's already in the books. But with 8 more wins, he can be number one in the books. In the most dangerous division in boxing, and at the highest levels, Deontay Wilder is tied for 7th on the most heavyweight title defense list, behind Joe Louis, Larry Holmes, Vladimir Klitschko, Tommy Burns and Vitaly Klitschko, and the greatest, Muhammad Ali. Deontay Wilder is tied with Jack Johnson, Lennox Lewis, and Mike Tyson with 9 straight title defenses. One more will set him tie with the greatest, Muhammad Ali. So while the Bronze Bomber is making history and you're hating on him, your fighters are history.
That shit hurting.
Ouch! It was poison. Ouch! I drank it to save my life. Tink, dear Tink, are you dying?
Ouch. Ouch. Bftb. Shout out to the LDBC. And I'm out.